How can you as a human being have so much hatred in you?
I'm just gonna say I'm gonna miss her. And Tenora was the lover. She was a beautiful spirited person, as we all knew.
Julii Johnson was born August 25, 1982. During January 2017, Julii and her boyfriend were happily together and enjoying their life in Warren, Michigan. On January 13th, around 7:30 in the morning, Julii was leaving her boyfriend's condo and someone surprised her and opened fire. Julii was shot multiple times and found on the front lawn of her boyfriend's home. The investigation into the murder of Julii led police to 3 suspects, one being Marcy Griffin, who was the ex-girlfriend of Julii's boyfriend, Jim Terrell Latner. The second being George Ryder, who was Marcy Griffin's current boyfriend, and Eric Gibson, who was a friend of George Ryder. Marcy Griffin had 2 children with her ex, Jim Terrell Latner, who was with Julii Johnson. Police say that Marcy recruited her current boyfriend Ryder and his friend Eric Gibson to help orchestrate and carry out the shooting death of Julii. Marcy Griffin and her ex, Jim, had been together for 17 years before he moved on and entered into a new relationship with Julii. Jim and Julii had been together for 2 years, and not long before her death, the couple went on a vacation to Las Vegas to celebrate the new year. Marcy Griffin, the ex-girlfriend, spoke rudely about Julii, and things escalated when she was under the belief that Jim and Julii got married while in Vegas. On January 13, 2017, it was reported that George Ryder drove his friend Eric Gibson to the neighborhood that Julii Johnson was currently located at, in the Heritage Village subdivision. He parked his vehicle in front of a nearby LA Fitness, and according to security footage, Eric Gibson then took a nature trail to Johnson Street. As Julii was leaving her boyfriend's home and getting into her car, Eric Gibson shot her around 7:30 in the morning. Eric Gibson then ran, tossed his gloves and a Smith & Wesson 9mm handgun along the trail. On that same day, text messages between Marcy Griffin and her boyfriend George Ryder show that the pair were joking about the plot the day of Julii's death. Eric Gibson, the shooter, adamantly denied that he was involved in the brutal killing and stated in court that the DNA found at the scene that linked him to being the actual trigger man was forced by authorities.
And Warren police, they illegally obtained my DNA and forged evidence against me to make it look like I committed this crime.
During the preliminary examination, profanity-laced text messages between Griffin and her ex-boyfriend Jim Terrell Latner from May to December 2016 show Griffin was very bitter about Latner's relationship with Julii, and she lambasted him for not doing more for his children, according to the evidence that was presented. Julii's boyfriend, Jim Terrell Latner, refused to testify at the district court preliminary hearing, and he served 1 day in jail. His attorney said Latner was exercising his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination, in part because of a pending weapons charge in U.S. District Court. In June 2019, all 3 defendants were found guilty of first-degree murder. Gibson caught another conviction on a charge of possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. Griffin, Ryder, and Gibson were all sentenced to life without parole. All 3 aren't allowed to contact one another or any member of Julii's family. On January 24, 2017, Julii Johnson was laid to rest. She was buried in Detroit Memorial Park West in Redford, Michigan, and she left behind her then teenage daughter and many loved ones and friends who continue to miss her presence in their lives. We'd like to send our condolences to the family of Julii Johnson and prayers to those that may be going through a similar situation. The death of Julii Johnson was a murder ruled by jealousy. Please join us in protecting our girls. This is Awareness by Creole Kisses. Be safe and have a good night.